Now let's discuss radioactive sources. You can hear my Geiger counter, which is a handheld version of the Geiger counters. It will react when I bring up a radioactive source to it. Well, we have three different types of radioactive sources, so let's look at the stopping power that different materials have on these radioactive sources, and also let's look at different versions of these radioactive sources. First, my alpha source, which is actually what's used in smoke detectors. This is going to react pretty fast and with my Geiger counter. There's actually a stripped down helium nucleus, so it doesn't take much to stop the reaction between the Geiger counter and the alpha source. You can see that most have been stopped by just a small piece of paper. I take two pieces of paper, even more have been stopped. 3, less and less. If I use a piece of metal, less again. So that's our alpha source. Another type of radiation is beta radiation, which is either positron or an electron coming off the nucleus. In this case, it's strontium-90. If I have my source right here, and I put my counter over the top, now this being a little smaller than the helium nucleus from the alpha particles, paper really isn't going to do much. However, a simple piece of metal will block some, but you really need to stop them maybe a piece of lead. So that's our beta source. If we take a look at a gamma source, right here, this is coming off of cesium-137. This is the radiation you'll normally find from typical radioactive sources of uranium or such. You go ahead and put that over this one. It's a very strong source. We take our metal again, just a thin slice of metal. Really doesn't do much. However, the lead by itself doesn't do much. 2 pieces of lead. We're slowly slowing it down. But you can see you need quite a lot of shielding in order to stop this kind of gamma radiation. So our gamma sources aren't stopped by much at all. And that's one of the reasons why gamma is much more dangerous than the other two types of radiation. If we take a look at some of the ways that we can have radiation around us now, these are old watches that they actually painted the dials with radium. You can see that our watch is actually quite radioactive. If you ask yourself, okay, how to find out what kind of radioactive source that was, if we use paper, if it was alpha, of course, it would be slowed down at least. The metal, slowed down a little bit, but not much. And let's use some lead, quite a bit. I would guess that that was a gamma radiation coming from this radium watch. And if we were to look at these plates, this is known as fiesta ware. This comes from the Southwest. It was glazed with a little bit of uranium mixed in with the glaze. You can see that it's fairly radioactive. You can actually still find this at some flea markets and such. We can do the same test. Paper doesn't seem to have much of an effect. Our metal, aluminum, doesn't have much of an effect. Lead slows it down a little bit. Once again, I would guess that that radioactive source coming from these plates is gamma radiation. So there you go. Radioactive sources and certain types of radiation all around you, illustrated just now.